Oh hey, hello everyone and welcome back to the HoniGAME channel. In a very familiar content that first appeared around the end of February, That's Not My Neighbor has become one of the games with the most active and enthusiastic fanbase on TikTok. However, the game itself still holds many unsolved mysteries. Let's explore those mysteries in the main content of today's video. In Nightmare Mode, there are some interesting details hidden by the game, most notably a strange piece of paper brought by a man in black. This man wears a hood that completely covers his head and his actions are extremely suspicious. Based on what is recorded here, you can see that the entire content of the paper consists of a few letters, arranged according to a rule that we cannot yet determine. The only meaningful phrase is "don't trust them," along with the logo of Triple D Department of Doppelganger Detection crossed out. Clearly, this person is trying to warn the main character not to trust this organization, but the question is why? If you look closely, the same paper also contains a link to an online document labeled Secrets, so the answer must lie within that link, right? But no, when you open this link, you'll find yet another encoded text that is even more challenging than what was on the initial paper. Well, to be honest, I was stumped by this before, but the situation has changed. Are you ready to help me decode this? If you are, make sure to subscribe to HoniGAME and brace yourselves. First, I realized that the paper the player received is a guide, or more precisely, a tool to decode a secret document from Triple D. Initially, I noticed there are 6 lines consisting of only 5 characters, O, I, T, N, and W. Another point to note is the symbols separating the letters. I think these symbols are describing mathematical operations, so it's likely that the 5 letters represent numbers. Then it struck me, I letter has 1 stroke, T letter has 2 strokes, and if you add them together, you get unletter, which has 3 strokes. Oh, it's simple then. These are addition operations, and the value of each letter corresponds to the number of strokes they have. Therefore, the values of the characters are as follows: I equals 1, T equals 2, N equals 3, W equals 4, and O equals 5. However, during the decoding process, I noticed that if O equals 5, it doesn't solve the problem. Instead, O should represent 0, which will make more sense, and the reason for this will become clear soon. Now that we have the decoding tools, it's time to tackle the secret document. For simplicity, I'll demonstrate with just the title of the text. After replacing the letters with their values, we get the following sequence. It still doesn't make sense, right? In fact, when you count the characters in any line, you'll notice that their values are always divisible by 3, so I'll rewrite them in pairs like this. Do you see anything? All the pairs have values less than 100, which suggests they might correspond to the positions of letters in the Roman alphabet. Since there are 26 letters from A to Z, for numbers larger than 26, like 30, you just subtract 26, but after doing this, the resulting text made no sense, indicating a more complex situation. Returning to the original number pairs, as someone highly attuned to mathematics, I noticed that 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4 belong to the base 5 quinary system. So I tried converting them to other systems, and after many trials, I discovered that the correct system to use is the decimal system. Here's how you convert base 5 values to base 10. The formula looks complicated, so to simplify it for this video, we can use this shortened version. Now, just substitute the numbers and calculate. It's simple, right? Haha. From here, the original number sequence transforms into different values, and by applying the previous method of replacing them with letters in the Latin alphabet, we obtain the desired text. The characters above, when rearranged for clarity, spell out confidential material. By applying the same method to the rest, you'll get the following text. Now we get to the most interesting part. According to what I've just read, the document talks about a top secret plan by Triple D called the Trojan Horse Project. In literature, the Trojan Horse Project refers to a war tactic. The Greek army gave the city of Troy a giant horse as a peace offering after the war, but it turned out to be a trick, as many Greek soldiers were hiding inside the horse, ready to ambush. This name is very relevant to the game's content. According to the document, this project is directly funded by the government's military department, and just mentioning this already gives off an ominous vibe. Moreover, Oswald D. Kepler, the name of the CEO mentioned, is a completely unknown figure, but the project leader is different. He is introduced as Dr. Ofton, who turns out to be a resident living in the game's apartment building. Based on the content presented in the document, it describes that the project is currently experimenting with creatures capable of mimicking humans, although this still requires further improvement. At this point, it's clear that the project is talking about doppelgangers. Over a long period of research, these creatures have been recorded as being able to learn all languages, mimic speech patterns, and possess cognitive abilities that enable them to conceal their identities. Obviously, after playing the game, you'll see that these descriptions are quite accurate. However, there is still one incomplete aspect. Their obedience is almost non-existent. It seems that once this aspect is perfected, the experiment will soon move on to the next secret phase, called the Evolutionary Algorithm Project, where they will train a large number of doppelgangers and use them as weapons. But what specific purposes will these doppelgangers serve? Looking at the timeline, we see that the project began in 1945, and the game is set in 1955. Historically, 1945 was the end of World War II, and at that time, the US was emerging as a superpower, while the Soviet Union, having played a significant role in the war, also became a major counterforce to the US. From there, these two superpowers led and divided the world into two opposing ideological blocks. They created what we now call the Cold War conflict that didn't lead to direct confrontation between the superpowers, but was manifested through proxy wars, arms races, and technological competition. To ensure their nation remained superior to their rival, both superpowers had to focus on their intelligence systems. So what could be more reasonable than using a project that creates creatures capable of mimicking citizens of enemy nations for espionage purposes? In my opinion, the doppelgangers in the game are part of a project developed by the Soviet Union. Looking at the names of the residents, you'll see that they are all Soviet names. Additionally, at this time, the Soviet Union implemented many apartment housing models to serve the population, especially officials, while such housing was not as common in the US. This brings us to another question about the player's role in the game. Specifically, we are hired as a doorman in the apartment building with the task of identifying and reporting doppelgangers to the D organization for capture. Could it be that this project experienced a mishap during testing, allowing the doppelgangers to escape? According to the document records, their escape was indeed noted. However, I believe the primary reason for their escape lies in their intelligence. This intelligence led the doppelgangers to think about escaping to find freedom. When this incident was accidentally exposed, what did the government do to address the fallout? The answer was to implement a contingency plan by establishing the D agency. However, they didn't reveal the truth about what happened. Instead, they continued to cover it up by providing us with misleading documents. The organization even inserted some alien imagery into the documents, implying that the doppelgangers were aliens infiltrating human society. And this becomes even more plausible with the release of the Nightmare mode. This part of the game describes the process of the main character's sleep treatment after they have completed their daytime duties. The reason given by D is that they care about their employees' mental health, but in reality, it's not like that. In the dream, the organization's personnel continuously create illusions of non-existent creatures in the main character's mind, with the ultimate goal of making us truly believe that aliens are present on Earth. What will happen in the future? As for the person who gave us the paper with the clues, is he a member of the anti-war faction or someone planted by the US? We still don't know. If you, like me, are eagerly awaiting new content from That's Not My Neighbor, Don't hesitate to hit the subscribe button for HoniGAME so we can stay updated with the latest information. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and share to support me, and leave a comment with suggestions for horror content you'd like HoniGAME to cover next. For now, goodbye and see you in the next video.